Hey, what's up, everybody? Coach Carroll. Welcome to another episode of the Sales Factory podcast. I got my man Eric Trice with me today. Pretty special episode. You know, a lot of times I'll bring you guys, interviews with just really cool hustlers that, have caught my attention or my respect, and, just try to give them a spot to kind of show a path, right, of what you could possibly do, what's possible out there for you. The last episode we had Ethan Adams on. Dude was just burning up the real estate market here in Louisville. So if you haven't checked that episode out, go check that one out for sure. And if you're listening on iTunes, Spotify, any of those, make sure to give us a review, so it helps us get in front of more people. And then if you're watching on YouTube or any of the video platforms, give us a thumbs up, hit the share button. So Eric, my man, welcome to the Sales Factory.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no, we're excited. So for those of you guys that are listening and watching, Eric was actually one of my first students that went through Sales Excellence University. So I thought it would be kind of cool. The dude is just absolutely killing it now in the truck washing space, the commercial exterior cleaning space. And so a lot of you guys, if you know my story, that's kind of where I came from. And so we built Sales Excellence University. Gosh, was that 2016, 17? Well, 18. When was that, Eric? When did you make the jump?
Hang on, I got a check on the wall. My first one, I can tell you. Where's the date? 15. Yeah, so like 16. So like the first 16, check I got was in 15. So probably 15, 16. Man,
so we're talking 5-6 years ago. Eric was, and I'll let him share a little bit more about his story here in a second, but, he was in a job and was looking to make a change and wanted to kind of get an exterior cleaning business, but he knew, unlike a lot of contractors, right? A lot of contractors think you just go buy some shiny equipment and all of a sudden the phone starts ringing. He knew that he needed to learn how to sell. And so he reached out to me, we got connected. He went through Sales Excellence University, and now the dude just absolutely crushes it. So, Eric, tell him a little bit about your background story. What were you doing before you became, an awesome entrepreneur that, you were sharing with me beforehand? Now it's homeless. No, we'll get into that later, but you guys have to listen to the end. But Eric, what were you doing before you got started with Absolute Pressure Cleaning?
Yeah, so I was doing construction. And to back it up a little bit before that, I was a GM Master Certified Technician. And I was like 21, 22. And I was like 2 certifications away from being like the elite. At that point, there was only 1,800 people in the country that had all those certifications. And I was like, man, this kind of sucks to be like 22 and I'm at the top. Like, I know, like I can see how far I can go, and like that's it. And that just didn't sit well with me. Yeah. So I was just looking for something different. So that's what got me into construction. So my grandfather has a successful company. My ex-brother-in-law, who's the one who I actually went to go work with, he had a successful company. My uncle did it. So I come from like a long line of like contractors who all had done well. So I was like, well, let's give the family business, so to speak, a shot and see if that works out. Kind of with the mind that possibly it might turn into my own thing, but it didn't take me long to find out that I did not like construction at all. I got pretty decent at it. Like, I know enough to get myself in trouble, I guess. But I also had the mindset. So I was 22 making, I don't know, 75 grand ish a year. So I brainwashed myself to think that money wasn't everything. I was like, I don't need to make a bunch of money. Like, money doesn't buy happiness, the yada, 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 which is kind of true, but I was thinking about it backwards. And so I went from making 75 grand a year to I was making like $15.50 an hour to start. And it didn't take long to realize that I was going broke in a hurry. And so that's what led to me wanting to start this power washing company. It was just a side hustle, just to make some extra money.
And a lot of times businesses start that way, right? They're like a side hustle, and then
I feel like a lot of people in the exterior cleaning, like, they start as just a side hustle to make some extra money.
Mm-hmm.
The interesting thing,
when you got started in the business, how quickly did you realize like shit, man, there's more to this than just doing the work?
probably, I don't know. I was not as long as most, maybe, just because I have a tendency, like if I want, like, am interested in something, I will just research the shit out of it. And so I'm just like all night, just like looking at, like, this is back when there was like the bulletin boards, like the old school, like online
Yeah.
forums and stuff. So I'm like digging through them and, um, just learning as much as I can. And so I feel like that really helped a lot with the learning curve. Just so much time, just reading and just consuming as much as I could. Um, and then it got to the point where I was like, all right, I got something here. Like, this isn't just a side hustle. Like, I can do something with this.
Yeah.
And I went all in. And sidebar, this isn't financial advice. So when it came time to pay the mortgage or buy chemicals or parts or whatever I needed to get shit done for the next couple weeks, I was all in on the business. So I got like, I was already broke. So I was like, screw it. This is my way out. And man, I got to the point, like, right when I was on the edge of like getting it, or not getting it, but like being more financially stable. I was like 12 grand behind on a mortgage. My truck had been repoed once. I got it back. They were trying to get it again. And like just all this stuff, and it all kind of worked out to where I didn't get the house foreclosed on, but they did come slap that manila folder right on the front door and take a picture of it. So it was, at that point, it was real. And that's when, like, when that happened, that's when like I really turned the hustle on.
Yeah, man.
Like I had
Called the
something, I
fuse
had
lit
something to
moment.
get out of. Yeah.
Everybody has that moment where it's like, okay, the fuse is lit. Like this thing's gonna fucking blow. I gotta get going now. Like
Yeah.
it's not a joke anymore. We're not playing around anymore. It's not fun, right? Like we gotta get moving. So yeah. So then what happened after that? Like if you, I mean, you guys, you're kind of, most people would call that rock bottom, right? Like, I mean, their trucks getting repoed, the foreclosure notices getting posted to the door.
Yeah.
Where are you at now? Fast forward. I mean, you got what I saw, truck number 937 or something you're going to put on the road. How many trucks you guys running now?
So it's truck number 12, but it's
12.
I have 9.
Gotcha.
I've totaled 1 and sold 2.
He goes hard, ladies and gentlemen. He goes hard. No, that's so cool, Eric, to see that you've been able to amass that. And 2016, we're recording this 22. Like, it's not that long. Like,
No.
that's that thing where it's like people, you see that quote all the time. Like they over assume what they can do in a year and they under assume what they can do in a decade. And it's like, you're living proof of that, man, that, if you put your head down, you take your ass whoopings when they come and you learn from them and you keep pushing forward. There's certainly that ability to, have success. Right. So many things in life are just about that discipline of like just being consistent and just doing the same things day in and day out and making sure that you're doing the right things, right? You're going to do the right things repeated over time. Will create extraordinary results. But so what happened then, man? I mean, you guys, you're about to get foreclosed on. What did the magic fairy show up to your door, or what happened?
No. So the truck being repoed, like, that's easy to hide, right? Like you can
put it in the garage.
I mean, it's well, not the truck itself, but like that actually happening. So like I got it back within like 2 days. So I think my sister knew about it. My dad is the one who kind of bailed me out and helped me get it back. And my boss, the guy I was doing construction with, he knew about it because I didn't show up to work that day. That was a super low moment, but like nobody other than those 3 people, nobody really knew about it. Right. And then, but when the foreclosure got slapped on the front door, my wife now, girlfriend at the time, she was sitting on the couch. So at that point, it was like, it's fucking real.
You had some explaining to do.
Yeah. And I lied and I got out of it. But still, like I knew in the back of my head, like this is gonna come full circle, and eventually she's gonna figure out what that is, and I got to be able to be like, it's all good, like we're good now. Um,
So
so
you knew that when it did come for full circle, you better be able to write the check to make it clean.
exactly, yeah, um, yeah, it was crazy because like right around the same time, like I don't know, 2 weeks before that, I called Wells Fargo and I was like, look, like I was doing better at that point. I said, I owe you like 10 grand or whatever it is at that point. I'm like, let me give you 6 today, or I think it was 7. I said, give me 2 weeks and I'll give you the rest. And they were like, no, all or nothing. I'm like, well, I guess you're getting nothing.
It's like that Cat Williams skit, right? Where he's like, they don't want part of it, a piece of it. They want the whole thing.
Damn right. They wanted it all. They were tired of waiting, and I can't blame so gosh, well, around that time, so that was right around the time I was going through Sales Excellence University. And so that I was doing that.
Oh, hold on. I got to stop you there, Eric. You hear that, guys? Dude couldn't pay his mortgage and he got into SEU. You feel that? Like when, like I talk to people all the time, man. And I'm like, I tell them, I'm like, put it on a credit card. You got it. Like, it will help you. It will pay for itself. And it's like, oh, I'm so scared. So like, I got my man over here that's like not making his mortgage payment, but by God, he was in SEU.
Yeah. I told you I was all in on making it work.
I love it, man.
So I went to a little round table. I wasn't going to go to this round table event thing. One, I couldn't afford it. 2, I had to work. Just I had all the excuses in the world. And then it was like the week of, or like the weekend before, we got a snowstorm. So construction outside, couldn't work for 2 weeks. Just like everything lined up to be like, okay, there's no excuse not to go other than the fact that you can't afford it. And I was like,
right.
And I had like another job lined up for when I got back, or I did it before or something. Like it worked out. And so I went. And that like gave me the belief side of things. Like that really, I was like, all right, I really can do something.
What made you believe? Like just seeing other guys that like had achieved it, or what's?
Yeah. So in that room, my buddy Nate Ferrier was there. But it was just a room of regular guys, and all of them were in my mind successful. I'm pretty sure most of them you would consider successful at some degree. And honestly, like
their houses weren't getting repoed.
Right. Yeah. They all had nice vehicles and they weren't getting their shit repossessed. They weren't running to Indiana to hide from the repo man. But I just like at one point I just thought like, if that guy can do it, ain't no reason I can't.
Yeah, man.
Like he looks like you or me. Like,
yeah,
just a dude doesn't look like he's anybody special, and they're doing it, so there's no reason I can't do it.
Yeah.
So that when I came back, I was like, I think I like backed up in some of the SEU stuff to more like the cold call stuff is really what I got hammered on. And kind of went through that again, and then just got after it. But the other interesting thing was when I got back, I was fueling up my truck on the way back because I had to drive because I couldn't afford to fly. And I like literally had to pull up my bank account and be like, all right, do I got enough money in here to fuel the truck to get home? And it was like, I think after I put gas in it, there was like 40 or 50 bucks. And I remember thinking, I'm like, all right, well, I've been gone for like 4 days. There's got to be a check in the mailbox from something. And there was like
somebody's got to pay me. Had to have cut a check.
There was a few $100 in the mailbox when I got home. So it was like, but still, like thinking back now, like $50 left, a couple $100 in the box. That ain't cutting it.
Right, man. Right. Now I want to touch on something there too, because like the self-belief stuff is so ridiculously important if you're going to achieve anything in life. With any level of success. I really think that, like, that's why I tell people, I know if you guys are listening to this, you've heard my story before, but like, when my chemistry teacher told me like I'd never be as successful being an entrepreneur as if I just went to school and became a chemical engineer. And it was like, that was chip number one on my shoulder. And I knew that at that point in time, like I had to believe in myself because nobody else was going to. And like, I feel like all successful entrepreneurs, all successful salespeople, they all come to that point. They have to have that climax at some point where it's like, fuck everybody else. I'm believing in myself and I'm going all in. Because the ones that don't ever have that moment end up giving up. Because there will be a dark day, there will be a dark time, there will be a bad hour or a bad week or a bad month or a bad year, or fuck, sometimes even a bad decade. Like, and you have to lean on that self-belief that, you know, I can figure this thing out. Like, and I love that you said, man, the other big thing there is like roundtables, you know, that's what they used to call them. Now it's just these big shows, these trade shows, you know, we'll be at one next week in Orlando, but used to, it was like 15, 20 dudes just huddled up in a shop, sitting on buckets, shooting the breeze, right? And like talking about different techniques and stuff before all these Facebook groups came along. And the power of that, like what you don't get in these Facebook groups or the online forums, is you can't really get face to face. Like all you have is like a little profile picture, maybe not even that. Some of these guys don't have profile pictures and they're on there as razzing. But like, if you can get in the same room with other people that are where you want to be, it does wonders, man. It's like the closest thing to magic that I can come up with. And I mean, you're living proof of that, dude, that like, that was the spark. That was the thing that you're like, you know what? Fuck this. I can do this. If that guy over there can do it, I can fucking do it. And then you went back home and you made it happen. So you went back home and you dive back into SU, you get through the cold call stuff. And it's like, all right, cool. Boom. I'm just going to hammer the phones. What was that like? Talk to us a little bit about that.
Man, I don't even know how to describe it. What was it like? It's scary, right? Like even to this day, like if I don't do a ton of sales for the company now. I mean, I do some, but if I got to go like get in cold call mode, like the first couple calls, it's like for me, like a little bit of butterflies, I guess. Yeah. And then you get a yes, or you schedule an appointment or whatever it is, and it's like, cool, another one. And then you just get in a flow. Yeah. It's I don't know. I guess it's the next closest thing to a high for me. Yeah. And for me, it's not so much the actual like scheduling the meeting or the sale itself. It is being able to read somebody's personality over the phone and being able to twist or tweak my technique to tailor to their specific personality to get them to do what I want them to do. That's the shit that I get excited about. Like it's just, and it's manipulative, but it's not.
It's for their benefit, so it's okay, right? It's I always talk about the Jedi mind tricks, right? Like you got to be a good Jedi mind trick, not a bad Jedi mind trick, and so it's perfectly okay. But yeah, dude, I can really like I'm over here smiling because I'm like, yes, that's like the greatest thing. When someone's like, no, I'm not really interested, and then you can keep working them and you overcome the objective, and then they're like, I'm not really interested. I don't think this is for me. You just keep working, and then finally you lock down the appointment. It's like. That's to me is more exciting than actually closing the deal, right?
Yeah, hands down. It's I don't. That's it. The personality profiling, like I like that shit.
Yeah, man, it's cool. Well, let's take a quick break right now, and we'll be right back, and we'll have a quick message from one of our sponsors. Hey, what's up? It's Coach Carroll. I hope you're enjoying the podcast here on the Sales Factory. You probably heard Eric talking about my book, Phenomenal Phone Calls. It's the gritty guide to closing big money deals over the phone. You can get your copy today at phenomenalphonecalls.com. It's phenomenalphonecalls.com. It doesn't cost you anything. I'll give it to you for free. You just give me your name, your shipping information. You just pick up the postage on it. I think it's like $7, and we'll ship you the book out for free. It's just one other way, another tool in your toolbox for me to help you close more deals, get to the money quicker. Now, let's get back to the podcast. Enjoy the Sales Factory. All right, and we're back. Guys, if you're just tuning in, I'm Coach Carroll. I've got my man Eric Trice here. This is a Sales Factory. If you're watching this on one of the other platforms, make sure you thumbs it up, like it, share it, leave us a comment, let us know what you're thinking. Eric is quick quick recap. We've kind of talked about, where he started at and where he's gotten. So if you missed anything, go back and rewind it and listen to that. But, so Eric, you've been on the phone, you're starting to set up some appointments. Now you're starting to get some traction. What's those next steps looking like for you? Like, are you kind of licking your chops? You starting to get a little excited? Cause like when you start rocking the closes and you start adding people on the scheduling, that's when it becomes real, right? Because then like the checks start flowing in. At what point did you like get out of that like scarcity, right? Of like, oh my gosh, I got to make this work, to like, holy fuck, this thing is actually working now.
Well, for me, so like did that, started selling, got a shop, I don't know, I had like 2 or 3 guys, and we were just cruising, and I made the mistake of, and I didn't consciously do it, but I got complacent. Like everything was okay. Yeah, I was comfortable. Everything was cool. Like everything was just going, and I was working a little bit, but I was constantly like, there was always something. Like, you know how that is. Like starting a service business from small, and it's like there's always something going on. Always putting out fire. So, and then I kind of realized, like, man, I've just been flat. Like I'm not really doing anything. So I had to like snap myself out of it. And then even then, moving past that, like I started doing sales, but really like you get to the point where it's like you got to get out of your own way. Like you got to start building a team, not just technicians and stuff out there doing the thing, but you got to build your admin or your executive team around you. And that's when like that's kind of like where we transitioned last year, and it's really gotten fun again. Because we were, what do we do? Like 36 grand year 1, 150 something year 2, 2 and some change, and then 2 and some change, and then I sold off my residential side, so I could just hone in and just laser focus on trucks. And then I grew like a tiny bit, and then it was just like it kind of clicked again. Like I hired an ops manager. I started building that team like I was talking about. And then I kind of like got out of the way. And it's just like 3 something to 965 to I want to double again this year. At least double. So I'm shooting for 2. But and now it's like fun just because like build a team and kind of get out of the way and watch it work.
Yeah. No, and dude, I'm so proud of you too. Because like, to see like where you came from and started, like when I got to start working with you as your coach, like one of the best things, like people ask me all the time, like they're like, oh, what do you coach? I'm like, well, I'm a sales and business coach. They're like, oh, sales. I'm like, yeah, like I teach people how to sell. And I know like to the outside perspective, like it seems a little weird or something, but they don't realize how fulfilling it is to take somebody like you, Eric, and like, I mean, all the credit goes to you because you did the work, right? But like to be able to kind of have a hand in that, to say, look, man, you've got the ambition and the drive and the hustle. Let me just give you some skill sets, so like you can use that skill and that drive and that ambition to really take it to the next level. And then to come back, because nothing happens overnight. I talk about that all the time, right? Like all my sales training stuff that I teach, it's like percentages. Like you pick up one little skill trait, it like swings your percentages by 2%. Like, so if you had a 60% chance of closing the deal, but I teach how to overcome objections, now you got a 64% chance of closing the deal, right? You learn prospect profiling. It's like, all right, now I just added another 8%. Like, and that's what it's about. And then that cumulative experience on top of the skills, man, for me, one of the most fulfilling things is like getting to see people, just achieve these numbers. Like you'll have $1 million business this year. And it's like, come from being a certified mechanic, like to this, like that. I don't know what more proof people need. You know what I mean? Like, it's like anything is possible if you'll just pay the dues, not be a little bitch about it, get up, work hard, not complain, figure it out, be a problem solver, right? Like you guys just heard Eric talk about, like there's fires. He was putting fires out. Like, yes, you have to be a problem solver in life. Like the problem solvers are the ones that make a lot of money. And so like for me, man, I just want to say, kudos to you because it's been awesome seeing you guys grow, and you got married and you got a house, and now you sold the house. We talked a little bit about that before the show with the real estate market being so crazy. Guys, some of you guys that are listening, like some of you all have heard me talk about, like if you live in your home for more than 2 years, then the gain on the real estate is 100% tax free. That's why you hear a lot of financial advisors saying, hey, one of the fastest ways to build wealth is through owning a home. Mm-hmm. And it's not really owning the home, it's owning the home for 2 years and then selling the motherfucker, especially when it's in a peak market. So, Eric, if you don't mind sharing, man, let them know what you just cleared off of your house.
Yeah. So I was in that home, 9 years. We had an unfinished upstairs. So we put about 30 grand into it to finish the upstairs. And then at the table, first off, here's how stupid the market was. We listed the house. We got an offer on the second day. He offered, what did he offer? 20 grand over asking, but wanted 10,000 in seller help for closing costs. And me being me, I asked my realtor, I was like, can I counter? She was like, well, yeah, you can. I said, all right, cool. 30 over asking, and we'll do 10 grand in help. So it's like he was already giving me more than what I asked for, and then I came back and asked for more.
Why not, man? Why not? Right? Like timid salespeople have skinny kids.
Yeah. But yeah, so at settlement, they wrote me a check for 172 grand.
Wow, man, it's crazy.
And the funny thing was, so the realtor posted a picture and tagged everything, and the attorney that helped me, like I got this pro bono attorney when I had to do like a mortgage modification or whatever they call it. Like it was a whole big thing. Like I met with a judge and Wells Fargo's attorney, and then I had like a pro bono guy who I've actually used since then. But he sent me a message. He was like, damn, he said, all that help I gave you to save that house and you just sold it. But
yeah, man, that's so cool though, man. Just again, man, just kudos to you. You're just absolutely crushing it. What if the people that are listening, if you could give them a couple of words of wisdom, a couple words of advice, over your half a decade, 6-7 years, wherever you're going on now, what are some of the biggest lessons? Because I always say, like, you don't have to go running naked through the landmines, right? Like you can ask other entrepreneurs, other people that came before you, like, hey, where'd you step and blow up, right? Like I share the story all the time about my fitness center and like how I lost that because a real estate agent took me to the fucking cleaners, right? I tried to sue the guy, didn't have the paperwork in order, and like it got thrown out, lost $500,000 worth of real estate in a 6-figure company. My lesson learned out of that is you can never have too many attorneys working for you. And now like everything gets double checked. So like what's some lessons that you could share with the audience, man, that you just give us a couple.
Yeah. Man, I feel like the biggest thing for me, and when I saw that huge growth, was like I touched on before, just building the right team. And I hired the wrong person so I hired an ops manager, the one I have now, just over a year ago. He'd been here a year in December. And I had one before him who wasn't the right one, and it didn't work out. And it was 6 or 8 months before I finally found the right one. But he has strengths that I don't have, right? So I can sell, but he was a director of operations for a Hyatt hotel. So he had customer service skills, which I had, but he can talk to people better. He had a pile of employees that he oversaw, however you say. And so he brought hiring to the table, like through all last year, like everybody's squealing about hiring, and we never had maybe a week or two where we were like, shit, we need somebody, and we got somebody.
Wow. So he does all the hiring and firing on the ops side.
Yep. We might fire together, but unless it's like something where it needs to be addressed immediately, then
right,
obviously he'll just take care of it. But So between just managing the team and helping build the right team, knowing, what people to bring and when to kind of cut somebody loose because they're not the right one. Way better at that than I am. Sales, when I brought him on, part of his deal was to do some sales, and I set a goal of 30 grand a month in new sales. January, we did like 60. And that's when I got the idea. I was like, well, that was easy. I was like, let's go for 100. So February, we did like 110. And I said, all right, we're going to do $1 million in new customer sales this year. And we did it by September.
Wow.
Now we didn't retain everybody because we clearly made some. When you sell $1 million in new sales in a year, and you're only a $300,000 company,
yeah, there's some learning curves.
you're gonna pick some wrong customers, and you're gonna hire the wrong customers, and obviously make some mistakes. But
yeah, I think the team having the team, man, is huge. Having the right people on the bus and making sure that they're on board with the mission of where everything's going is super important. That's why company culture, if you're the leader, if you guys are listening to this, a book that I read last year was called Rocket Fuel. Man, it's amazing because, they change it from a CEO and a COO position to a visionary and an integrator. And your job as the visionary is to cast the vision of the company and to steer company culture. Right. And so like, that was like a game changer for me, like really kind of opened my eyes. And so, Eric's saying the same thing here is like, one of his biggest lessons, like the fucking afterburners clicked on when you started building that team out of A players, not just building a team, building a team of A players. And that's where like a lot of people are complaining. They're like, I can't find good help. They're out there. You might just have a shitty company. And it's like, if they got to show up to a storage unit and you don't have any uniforms and, you're going to pay them cash and there's no you're not taking taxes out. Like, of course you're going to have a hard time finding employees if that's the type of shit show that you're running. But if you've got an operation that's tight, that has company culture and core values and a mission statement, and everybody's on board about where they're going, and the guy at the top is excited, all the way down to the guy at the bottom's excited, that's when the magic happens. So yeah, man, I think that's spot on. Let's talk about a mistake. What's maybe one of the biggest mistakes that you made?
If I could pick my webcam up and put it in the shop, I could show it to you. Man, so I have, like we talked about before, like I come from a mechanic background, so I know how to fix trucks, equipment, whatever. I can do it. I've got a truck in the shop that needs an engine, and I told myself that I would tear it apart and fix it and put it, fix it, whatever. And I could. And then like it just snowballed to, all right, now it needs an engine. Like if I had just let the shop that originally had it put an engine in it back in fucking June, it would be on the road right now. But instead it's sitting in the shop, still needs an engine. Like I'm finally getting an engine ordered this week, but it's just been this in my head that I can do it, so I need to do it. And the same with some other stuff, like I can fix that, so I need to fix that. When in reality, like I've got no business working on my trucks at this point. It's one thing when you're starting out and you're bootstrapping and you don't have any cash, and it's like, all right, I'm gonna do anything I can do to get stuff done. But at this level, I'm doing myself, my employees, like literally everybody a disservice by trying to be the repair guy.
That's so fire, dude. That's I call that the broke bitch mentality, right? And like that's the problem is like when you're starting and you're hustling and your fucking truck's getting repoed and they're trying to foreclose on your house, and you got $50 in your bank account and you're filling up the truck, right? It's like you make decisions out of scarcity at that level in life. When you start ascending up the ladder of success, we'll just call it, you have to change that. Like that old adage of like, what got you here won't get you there. Like that is so true, man. And it's like, yes, absolutely. You have the skill set, you have the ability, all of that. There's no doubt in my mind, right? You go out there and knock the thing out. The problem is you won't be able to get to it because you're running the fucking company. Like, like when the fucking line breaks at GM in Detroit, the CEO doesn't go, oh shit, let me go down and change the belt on the line real quick so we get back up operational. They don't even fucking know. I said made a comment to Victoria the other day. I think we were watching the news, or like we were driving down the street or something, and there was like a semi truck that was like just like turned over. I think it was during the snowstorm. It's like barreled over, and it was like an R&L Carriers, right? Big company. And I'm like, you know what? The fucking CEO probably doesn't even know that truck's sitting on its side. Like, has no idea it's laying on I-65 on its side. And it's like, that is so important, man, because that is a step of evolution of like climbing to that next stage of saying, just pay for it. Like, just pay it and it'll come back. I don't know if it was Ed Milet or I can't remember who I heard it through. I think it was Ed Milet. He said, stop negotiating the price of your success. Stop negotiating the price of your success. And that's what we do, right? We say, oh man, that's what you did with that truck, right? It was fucking 25,000 to have them do it. You could do it for 16.5. And you're like, fuck, I'm going to do it for 16.5. It's like, no, the price of your success is $25,000. It's like, you got to fucking pay it. And so, man, thank you for sharing that, because I think that really gets, especially from like our background, right? Like that blue collar contractor, because there's a certain sense of pride. Right. Like there's a certain sense of pride. Like, fuck that. I could fix that. I'm not paying it. Like my dad's 65 years old, still works with me in the business. And it's like, he's the same way. Oh, we don't need to spend that much. It's like, stop, go swipe the fucking credit card and make the problem go away. Like swipey, no more problem. I
forget who said it. Was it it might be in the book, Who Not How, but it was basically like, if you've got money, you don't have a problem.
Yeah.
And
you might have an inconvenience, but you don't have a problem.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, is like, you always want new problems, right? Get new problems. Life is a miserable thing to live when you have the same problem over and over and over. Like, oh fuck, here comes the repo guy again. if you have to state the problem with again at the end of it, you're not doing it right, bro.
You made a mistake somewhere.
No, man, that's cool. That's cool. What's let's leave. I always like to find out what books you've been reading. Any guests that I have on, any recommendations for the library?
What are some of the best ones? I feel like I don't know if I've read. So I've read this past year, Extreme Ownership. I'm sure that one has to have been and talked about on. I tell you what, damn it, what's the name of it? Brandon Burchard wrote it.
High Performance Habits?
No, it's another one. I don't remember the name of it. I got it in my luggage and I just saw it the other day.
HPA, High Performance Habits is, let's look it up. Let's take a look here.
I want to say Brandon Burchard. Like the intro is like deep.
The Charge Life?
No. Maybe I might have the wrong guy.
Life's Golden Ticket?
The Motivation Manifesto.
Motivation Manifesto. I literally like every book except for that one. Yeah, no, that one is good. That one is really good. Brendan's a solid guy, man. I don't think, he has a video where he's talking about he was at a diner with this YouTuber that had like 5 million subscribers, and they sit down and they're eating lunch, and this lady like sits down next to the YouTuber and she goes, "Hey, I think I know you." And the YouTuber's like, "Oh shit, here we go, crazy fan alert," right? And she goes, "Hey, did you go to such and such high school?" And he's like, "No." She goes, "Oh, okay, I'm sorry. I thought you were somebody that I knew." And like Brendan's like, it just goes to show you in this world of the internet, it's like you can have 5 million subscribers and go to a diner and people still don't know who the fuck you are. So it's like, I think Brendan is somebody that's probably slept on. Everybody knows Tony Robbins, but I would put Brendan right up there. I mean, they're number one, number two when it comes to content from high performance, personal development standpoint. So yeah, Motivation Manifesto is a solid one, man. Good recommendation. Good recommendation.
Yeah.
Cool, man.
I read that to my wife and she said, what'd she say? She was like, I feel like I was just scolded and enlightened in the same sentence. It's so deep.
I'm sure Brendan would appreciate that too. So, well, man, it's been awesome having you on, Eric, and getting to catch up, dude. I'm glad that you guys are doing well. I mean, from fucking $50 in the bank account to, doing, you guys will have $1 million business this year, maybe a multi-million-dollar business. And I'm just, thank you from the bottom of my heart for letting me play some small, tiny role in that and helping you along the journey. Cause that's my life's purpose and really means a lot to me. So anything you want to leave the audience with before we go?
Man, just, I don't know. Like there's a lot I could leave them with. Two things, just self-belief. Like there's nothing in this world. I had this conversation today. There is literally nothing in this world that you can't have. If you want it, you can have it. If you want it bad enough, there's nothing you can't have. And literally, and this took a while for me to figure out, but like literally every decision you make or what you have or your circumstance is a direct result of every single decision you make, hands down, without a doubt. So
that, man.
Whenever you're feeling like a victim of circumstance, it's bullshit. It's a direct result of a decision you made at some point. Might not have been the last decision, but it is a result of a decision you made. And once
personal belief, personal responsibility, baby. Personal belief, personal responsibility. Love it, man. Love it. Well, guys, if you guys have been, if you have enjoyed this interview, if you're watching us on any of the video platforms, make sure to give it a thumbs up, leave a comment down below. Eric, how can they find you if they want to link up with you on social media?
Man, I'm on Facebook. I'm not on Instagram or Twitter like I probably should be, but Facebook. I also run a group called the Fleet Wash Academy. Cool. If you're ever interested in washing trucks, check that out. There's a ton of information on there, but hit me up on Facebook.
Love it. Love it. Cool, guys. And remember, if you're listening to this on the audio platforms, make sure to give it a 5-star review. It helps to get out more in front of more people. Certainly not selfish of me. I just want to help more people. So just like I've been able to do with my man, Eric Trice. So it's been fun, brother. I appreciate you coming on the show. Thanks so much. And for the rest of you, until next time, here's to your success.